Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for joining us for this session on kit setup. Now this is a very subjective and opinion-based session, so take it for what it's worth, and if it's helpful, use it, and if you already have a really comfortable way that you set your drum set up, stick with it, because much of it is about comfort, familiarity, and muscle memory for your body. But if you're kind of on the fence and you may feel like you're struggling a little bit to get comfortable, here's a couple of ways that you might think about setting your drum set up to be helpful for you as you play. All the campuses that we play at have this same setup. They have 3 toms, a rack tom and 2 low toms, and kick and 2 big cymbals, a ride, and large hi-hats. So first of all, the 3 things I think are the starting point for a drum kit setup is how high you sit, how high your snare drum is relative to your sitting, and how far away from the kick drum you're most comfortable. Some people like sitting way on top of the kick drum and their leg is moving straight up and down. Some people like being a little further away and a little bit more reaching with their foot. But I think a good rule of thumb would be to never be falling off of your chair because it's too high, and don't be sitting so low that you have to use this hip flexor muscle just to even pick your foot up. You want to be able to be pretty light with the feet on either one, the hi-hat or the kick drum, but the distance from the kick drum is really important to do that. So sit at a place where relative to the kick drum distance here, but you're high enough that your snare drum strike isn't like scrunching your shoulders up like this or reaching too far below your leg or end up hitting your thigh with every single strike. If you end up hitting your thigh with every one of these snare strikes, you'll end up feeling like you maybe being a little more inconsistent on how you hit the snare drum. So you want to try to be hitting a rim shot comfortably. And what I mean by that is the stick is hitting the rim and the center of the drum at the same time. And so how that feels and how you end up getting to that spot right there is really relative to how high you're sitting and how long your arms are. So that's really different for every single person. So find the relationship with your seat height, snare height, and kick distance so that you can hit that strike really well. Second thing would be you just kind of fit your toms around those first 3 kind of setup rules. Get this high tom where you want it, where you can hit it and not hit the hi-hat, and not your stick path wouldn't hit the cymbal. And then these 2 low toms kind of in a way that you don't have to do a huge trunk rotation to get to it. You don't want it way over here. And you might even move these a little bit to be comfortable for you. These are big cymbals, and all of our drum sets around here have the same size. This is a 21, this is a 24, and this is a 22. And so getting those in a place where they're not getting in the way of your stick path when it comes to your toms will be really helpful. Where you set this ride, how high and how it's angled, totally up to you. Some guys may even move this over here and this cymbal over here, and that's totally fine, whatever's comfortable for you. But you want to be able to crash the ride. You want to be able to kind of have some stick definition with the tip and even bell access without reaching too far or being too uncomfortable. Another thing is these hi-hats. These are big hi-hats, and so all of our campuses have the same size hi-hat. These are 17-inch hi-hats. And so they'll potentially be in the way if you move them too far this way, and they'll be in the way of your snare stick path and even your hand moving up and down to get to the tom. You don't want to be in a way, put it in a place where you end up hitting your hand on the hi-hat and when you hit your tom. So really that's it for a kit setup, and they're just some suggestions for you, and your comfort and your familiarity with the set is the most important thing. And then your muscle memory will kind of follow that, and you'll develop the right muscles in each one of your limbs to compensate for the placement of them. But if you're on the fence, use some of these points, and maybe you'll create a setup that's best serving you. So if you have any questions, let us know and we'll try to help.